School Board of Trustees. It is March 18th, Monday night at 6 o'clock in the San Marcos High School. I trust everybody had a great and restorative and safe spring break. It's nice to be back. We appreciate all of our teachers and our staff. Seemed like everything went well this morning and all day with everybody back to school. Ready and excited to start the fourth quarter coming up. Without further ado then, I'm declaring that we have a quorum. We have 6 trustees in person and 1 Ms. Cantu on Zoom. Good evening, Ms. Cantu. If you can put yourself on mute, Ms. Cantu, that might be great, but also hello to your lovely grandchildren there in the background. And I'd like to invite Ms. Gonzalez and Ms. Riccio, Principal Gonzalez and Principal Riccio, who are going to introduce the students tonight from VI.A and Hernandez both Hernandez and VI.A in elementary school, who are going to lead us in the pledge.
Good evening, board. I'd like to call up my student council members. We have the Hernandez Student Council, if you could come up. Aubrey Bain, James Kane, Thomas McKinney, Christina, Valentina, sorry, there's 3 of them, they look exactly alike, and Benson Moreno.
And from VI.A, we have Layla and Mila Sandoval.
Please stand.
Yep. And we will be doing in both English and Spanish.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación bajo Dios, indivisible, con libertad y justicia para todos. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Honor la bandera de Texas. Te prometo lealtad a ti, Texas, un estado bajo Dios, único e invisible.
Thank you.
You're about to do the hero pledge, weren't you? Thanks so much, everybody, and thanks to your families for coming tonight. We appreciate it. And now we will have a public forum. We have 2 speakers. The first is Charles Anderson of Kyle, Texas, speaking about next school year.
Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, members of the board and Dr. Cardona. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you again on a matter of importance for the upcoming school year. This time, y'all can see I've come dressed appropriately, no red flannel pajamas this time. Winter break concludes, we come back to school. Planning and preparation for the following school year follows. Projections are made, meetings are held, and it's become the common practice. Teachers are told that we are going to have to do more with less. The goals for improvement in test scores, student behaviors, attendance, and a myriad of other campus, district, and even statewide goals are still there, unchanged. What has changed again, for the God only knows time, is we, the teachers, are being asked again to meet or exceed those goals with less resources, less staff, more students with more diverse needs than ever before. I thank the board and Dr. Cardona for their boundless faith in their teachers' abilities to make do with less and to find a way to make it work. But quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I could use a little less faith and a few more resources, please. I am a special education middle school math teacher. I will speak about the needs in my area of expertise, but I'm sure the same can be said about most areas of our teaching. I co-teach, and I'm the only resource math teacher for my campus. So I teach the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Best practices for a co-teach class is a 4-to-1 mainstream to SPED ratio. Best practices for resource classes is 4 to 6 students per class. I currently co-teach classes that can approach a 1-to-1 ratio, and this is common among all grades and core subjects. I have resource classes that are from 9 to 15 students per class, and these numbers are only going to get worse in the 24-25 school year. This is a problem we cannot continue to just shrug our shoulders and proclaim SOCKS, which translates to it is what it is. We cannot continue to have this attitude towards a serious problem that has been going on for decades with the same solution. We must find a new solution, because seeing the same problem and offering the same solution but expecting a different outcome is a definition of insanity. I was taught growing up not to bring a problem to the table without a solution. This was very difficult for me because this problem has been around for a very long time. It comes around again and again and again. I'm sure that better minds than mine have thought deeply about it to no avail, but I still had to try. So I put on my thinking cap and I thought and I thought and I thought some more, but nothing. I can't just drop this problem in Dr. Cardona's lap. He's way too busy right now. He's our district superintendent and our high school principal. He doesn't have time for problems without solutions. He needs better from me. Then it hit me, Dr. Cardona. You are the solution. What do I mean? I am sure that your APs and staff at the high school are all doing a little bit more to ease your burden
That's
as the
3
school
minutes.
principal. Well,
Do you wanna-
you can call my wife and she can.
And she's
come up
going to
here.
defer to you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we
Okay,
just
then
defer?
we're going to follow protocol here, and I'm going to call Miss Danette Lyra Anderson. Also, Kyle Texas, speaking on next school year.
Okay. Now, we can go about this, but my wife is deaf and I'm going to interpret, so, or we can just.
You can go ahead and defer your 3 minutes, and go
Okay.
ahead.
So you can just say, it's my turn and we're finished. All right. Then it hit me, Dr. Cardona, you are the solution. What do I mean? I am sure that your APs and staff at the high school are all doing a little bit more to ease your burden as principal. And I am equally sure that all of your assistant superintendents are pitching in to lighten your load as the superintendent. What if we asked all of our executive directors, directors, assistant directors, skills specialists, coordinators, and yes, even your assistant superintendents, to give 1 hour per day, plus or minus, to our schools to, for example, co-teach a class, or support our teachers in one of the many other ways where our schools need more bodies in the class to do the work. I know it would be easy to dismiss this speech as a teacher using humor to blow off a little steam at the board and a superintendent, once again using budget shortfalls to add more work to an already overworked, overstressed, and overburdened staff. I know with 100% certainty that this proposed solution will not hurt anything or make anything worse. But this proposal could provide a huge gain by giving our policymakers and staff an opportunity to see the problems at the staff level and to be able to collaborate on the solutions with new perspectives from both sides. Maybe, just maybe, these solutions will be new and novel, not just the same recycled, decades-old solutions to the same problems. I know, Dr. Cardona, that you have been pulling double duty, so you can exempt yourself for now. But when you find us a great high school principal and you're looking for a class where your presence will not overwhelm, you're always welcome in my room.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, then we'll move into the superintendent's report.
All right, Madam President, members of the board, echo Ms. Halsey's sentiments. I hope everybody got some rest and relaxation. And I'm going to go right ahead and turn this over to Mr. David Underwood. So we are going to recognize some of our wonderful students who we started with our dual language program kids. I think that's says a lot about our kids when they started speaking Spanish. All of us stood quiet, and you could see the learning taking place live and on the spot because they knew a whole lot more than we did. So there's great stuff happening on our campuses, and it's due to the teachers and administrators that work really hard with our students. Mr. Underwood?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Cardona, members of the board, President Halsey. I want to first let you know that tonight we're going to be recognizing middle school students and what they have done within the areas of fine arts. And so we're going to begin with Mr. Mario Contreras, middle school choir director for Miller Middle School, and he's going to let you know what it is that we're recognizing our student body for.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miller Choir. We took two groups to our UIL on the 28th of February and March 1st. On the 28th, we took our tenor bass choir, and they received ones across the board. Ones is the most superior rating, not only on concert, but in sight reading. And we took the advanced treble choir the following Friday, which was March 1st, and they got straight ones as well, which is the most superior rating as well in concert and in sight reading. So we're so glad that we were able to be recognized, and thank you so much for that. So a round of applause for Mike.
So one of the judges' comments was, you should send the recording so that they can perform at TMEA. Little did they know that all of these students performed at TMEA in January as a demonstration choir. So we're just had a really great February. Oh my goodness.
It's a phenomenal recognition by members of the collegiate world to actually say, is there a school that's nearby TMEA? And yes, there is one that can actually be used as a part of a presentation. And so Mr. Contreras' groups were both there. It was a phenomenal performance on that day as well.
Congratulations, guys.
The next group that we'd like to invite up is our Miller Middle School bands under the direction of Mr. Hector Ramirez and Mr. Danny Maldonado. And they're going to come forward and talk to you about what it is that they achieved as well.
They're like, do we really have to go in front of these people?
Okay, Ms. Ramirez, share with the crowd what it is that the students are being recognized for tonight.
So last week before spring break, we went to our UIL contest, sight reading and concert contest, which is like our big, if you were to equate it to something, it's like our STAR test basically, right? This is our evaluation by judges. They have two different panels. 3 judges hear us on stage, and then they go into a room immediately after where they're given music that nobody's ever seen before. It's written strictly for that competition. It's basically like one big kept secret across the state of Texas. And they go in there. We have approximately 7 minutes to look at the piece. They play it, and then the judges critique them based on how they do. And we are very proud to say that this is the first year that both wind ensemble and symphonic band have brought back sweepstakes, which means that they got ones on stage and in sight reading, which is the highest, the superior rating that you can get. So these kids have done an awesome job, and we're really proud of the work that they did.
Any parents that are present, if you will please come up and take pictures.
Congratulations.
Great work, everybody.
Congratulations.
Our next group's up. We're going to begin with Mr. Aaron Mata, the assistant band director at Goodnight Middle School, and he's going to let you know what is being recognized here, something that hadn't happened in a while. Mr. Mata?
Hi, my name is Aaron Mata. Like I said, I'm at Goodnight Middle School. I'm the assistant director. history. We got one of our first plaques that we've gotten in a very long time at Good Night, which is great. We got a excellent rating on our on-stage performance. And we got a superior rating on our site reading performance. So it's been a super great year, and we're super excited with the kids in sports. And this is Oliver VI.A, one of our saxophone players, and VI.A, one of our percussionists.
Great work.
Next up will be Mr. Benjamin Pierce, Head Band Director at Goodnight Middle School. And Mr. Pierce, if you would go ahead and explain why y'all are present here this evening as well.
Hi, once again, my name is Mr. Pierce. This is Bella, Isaiah, Robert, and Luke. These are representatives from the varsity band over at Goodnight. And this year, they performed and got straight ones across the board. That's the highest score you can get for both concert and sight reading. And so they got the sweepstakes award. And this is the first time a Goodnight varsity ensemble has gotten straight ones since 2012. So pretty awesome.
Great work.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Any parents?
Good job, everybody.
Congratulations.
Mr. Pierce is one of our new additions to the Fine Arts Department, and it's great to have him, and it's great to have a straight 1 at Goodnight, which we, again, like he said, I was looking back at Texas Music Forms to see if I could figure out when the last time it was that we've had straight 1s, and it was 2012. So thank you so much, Mr. Pierce, for your work, and students for your efforts.
All right. I believe that is it for student recognitions. One more. I see Mr. Odom over there waving me down. All right, Mr. Underwood's coming back. Here he comes.
And then the last group that I have to come before you tonight, sorry it's taking a little longer, we're trying to do it a different way. We have Amy Wolf, who is our director of dance over at Goodnight, and these students haven't come up. Last year they didn't come up. They won a lot of stuff last year, but she wanted a specific award before she would be recognized by the board. And so tonight we're going to bring her up so that she can tell you what it is that they did.
Hi, good evening. I'm Amy Wolf, and these are my officers from our dance team at Goodnight Middle School. And we are very honored to be here this evening. I'm just going to read a few of the awards. We competed in New Braunfels at HTE, actually with Diamond Line and Dazzlers as well. And very proudly, we literally swept the competition. So we took 4 team routines, a contemporary jazz lyrical, and Palm won first place for all 4, and 3 officer routines. We took a lyrical, a jazz, and a contemporary, and also won first place. So we were grand champion team as well as grand champion officers. And then my captain, Adriana, she placed first with her solo, and Camila, one of our second lieutenants, placed third. And then we also received many other awards like judges awards for choreography, technique, precision, and then just sweepstakes. So they did a fantastic job of just literally sweeping the entire competition.
Woo. Awesome job, ladies.
Turn around.
Now can we get a picture?
Congratulations.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Any parents present, please come up and take pictures.
Y'all come up closer. Come on, mamas.
Good job. Good job.
Thank you, y'all.
Ready for ladies? Good work. Good job.
Emily, bring them on up.
So we have a group representing the CTE department from our teaching and training program of study. These are students that compete in TAFE, the Texas Association of Future Educators. Each of our CTE programs have what's called a CTSO, so it's an organization where they can take the skills they're learning in class and compete at state and national levels, and that's what they do in our education and training program. And so we're excited about the students that are here that represented us recently in Round Rock at state, and I'll let you know who did what there, as well as some of these students that qualified at state and will now be moving on to the national championship in Washington, D.C. this summer. So we're excited about that. First of all, as state qualifier in children's literature K-3 in Spanish was Camila Palmillas Garcia. We had Colton Hill, it's qualifying for state and educators rising moment. All right, standing up there is one of our ethical dilemma teams that made it to state in Mabry Kratz, Juliet Ruscio, Sam Salmi, and Xavier Herrera. Also, Eleanor Heiner got the silver certificate at state in teacher created materials for both middle school and high school. And then our national qualifiers, Eleanor Heiner was a state qualifier and now a national qualifier in lesson plan and delivery for STEM. And Lila Lingner and Georgia Riccio was a state qualifier and now a national qualifier in ethical dilemma. So please give them a huge round of applause.
Mama, you want to go
Same
take a
thing,
picture?
parents, come up and grab a photo.
She said she would do it this time.
No, that's a good one.
Thank you,
We have
Mary.
proud mama.
All right, thank you guys.
Good job,
Congratulations.
everybody.
Time for rehearsal.
We're very appreciative of our students. Every program you saw is not recognized by the state in our accountability ratings, but for the last 7.5 years, it has always been a pleasure to have every board that has been up here when these kids are recognized support, you know, a well-rounded student, a whole-centered developed child. And I think it's really important that we honor these kids, and we're appreciative not only to Mr. Underwood and Mr. Odom, but to the fabulous teachers and the kids and the parents who sacrifice a lot of Saturdays and late evenings to make sure that these kids get that experience. And with that, that is the end of the superintendent report. 9 weeks left to go. Let's finish strong, be on time to class every day. And so if you're a high school parent, you'll continue to get my weekly newsletters where we're focusing on making sure that we support our kids, but they also need to support us in making sure they're in class on time. And we're very appreciative of the high school staff who's doing some great things with students and all our staff. So thank you.
And then we will move into our academic reports. Dr. Sanders.
Okay. Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Cardona. This evening, I will be sharing information related to the federal report card that we are required to post annually. So the federal report card, first of all, something to keep in mind that the decision that was made by the Texas Education Agency to delay reporting any state accountability ratings have no effect on the federal accountability reporting that is required. So just want to make sure that everyone understood that. So as you can see, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act requires that each LEA, so that's the legal education agency, in our case for Texas, it is the Texas Education Agency, that we publish annual report card with state, district, and campus level data. And the reason why we have to file this is because as a district that receives Title I funding, it is necessary for us to be able to report this to the state, to the state that reports to the federal government in order to ensure that we keep receiving that funding. As you know, Title I funding supports our at-risk students, also closing that achievement gap. So that's the reason why we have to make sure that we publish this. And there's a deadline. This year, the deadline was March 4th. We were able to publish this by February 28th, I believe is the date. And the way that we go about communicating this across the district is through a letter, and you probably can't see the letter because it's small there, but the letter is one that is sent on my behalf to all San Marcos CISD families. Mrs. Nash receives an email from the state notifying her that the document is ready to go. We meet to go over it. There's very little that happens in terms of changing anything on it. The document that contains the data is actually data from the previous year. So this is something that we're sharing in March, but this is from 2022, 2023. So in the letter, there's a link that we put on there, and the link, and I'll go there for you. If you click here, it is going to take us to the district website. And on the district website, I will show you, we have our 2021 school report cards, and there's a disclaimer there that school report cards have not yet been posted for the 22-23 school year due to pending litigations around the A through F accountability ratings. But below it, you'll see the federal report cards. And that's where you see the 2022-2023 federal report cards. So as a user, if you're interested in looking at the information for the entire district, you would click on this first link, and it would pull up all of the different pieces that are contained within the district report card. If you're looking for just a specific campus, you would then click on the one that has the campus federal report card. So every school has a report card that is located here. Keep in mind that the federal accountability system does not give us a letter grade. So that's a little different than what we encounter with the state of Texas with our report card where we have a letter grade. Let me go back to the, oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay. All right, so inside of the federal report card, most of the information that you will see is information that also is included in the state report card. It's the information that Mrs. Nash has presented several times in terms of the student achievement level, how many students are performing at grade level, what the growth rate looks like, what the graduation percentage is. But it also contains some additional information that's not required of the state report card. For example, one of the big things is NAEP, and you'll see it up there. It's the statewide National Assessment of Educational Progress. And the reason why this is an important measure, it compares how our students in grades 4 and 8 in the areas of math and reading are performing compared to students across the country. Keep in mind that this is not a comparison of students in San Marcos CISD. It is all students in the state of Texas in 4th grade who take the NAEP assessment. All students in 4th and 8th grade do not take the assessment. It is a random process. They inform us sometime in the spring well, actually in the fall, of who will take the test. We have to supply them with a list ahead of time of every 4th grader, every 8th grader, and then they are randomly selected to participate in the NAEP assessment. But this gives us a great idea, looking at the state of Texas, as to how our students are performing in comparison to other states across the country. So all of these different pieces are included in the federal report card, and by going to the link that I showed you earlier, it does give you, it's a massive spreadsheet that contains all the information. And we are required to post this on our district website and have it up for at least 3 years. In addition, if a request is made, we are to provide a hard copy to a parent to keep one on campus and or have one that is displayed publicly. So we fulfill our obligations by first posting on the website, and then we have principals' information. So if a principal gets a request, he or she can then print the information out to have it on their campus for viewing. But this is the federal report card.
Questions from board members? Thank you very much.
Oh, I said thank you.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Cardona. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Vogel, the chair of the School Health Advisory Committee, also known as SHAC. And this organization has been working on this project for some time. We're very excited to share with you. I have Leslie Adamson, who is the PE coordinator for the district, and we have parent Samantha Armbruster here to also share our information that we're very excited about. So.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm here to kick off the presentation on the Barrio Pescado Fitness Trail Project. Okay. This 1 mile trail that will feature fitness equipment is lovingly being named after the neighborhood that is adjacent to it and near the fish hatchery here in town. This project has been underway for about a year with the guidance of the Student Health Advisory Council and the Physical Education Work Group. It's been very exciting to be a part of this impactful and tangible project to help promote healthy social, emotional, and physical health for our community, families, and the kids. So before I pass it over to your awesome staff members, I just want to thank some of the partners that have helped get the project to this point. The maintenance department with CISD, Mr. Saldival and Duval, also the campus administrators for the campuses adjacent to this project, including Mr. Garcia, as well as all of the Student Health Advisory Council. I want to also thank you for your appointment to this council. It's been such a great project to be a part of. And with that, I will turn it over to Leslie and Jennifer.
Good evening. So I'm just going to briefly talk about and show y'all where the fitness trail will be and our proposed ideas of what equipment will be at the different locations around the 1 mile trail. So the trail will go around Staples Road, Desavalla Road, so it'll go the backside of Goodnight up to DZ, and then where the new central office is being built right now, so we don't have fitness equipment right now on those sites, and then it'll cut back on the side between the tennis courts and Goodnight. So it's a 1 mile loop, and then we'll have outdoor equipment spread out at different locations for the community to use, for Goodnight to use, for central office, for everyone in that area. And so the first site is just showing you that all these sites will have upper body, lower body alternating between the sites, or with some agility plyometric equipment that's low maintenance. Some of them have moving parts and whatnot, but it'll be low cost maintenance to us. And so the first site has 2 pieces of equipment that's on the backside of like the CDC Center and Staples Road. So it has an upper body and a balance plank. And then site 2 is coming up to Staples and DZ, the intersection right there. And that's working on your leg extension, so lower body. And then right when we turn onto DZ, transportation is also there, our new transportation part. And so at that, there's a plyo hurdles where you can do step overs for walking coordination, or you can do plyometric jumping as well. And then also a bench dip station where you can do incline push-ups or just different, you can utilize it for different body parts to increase your strength. And then moving along DZ Road, there's a leg press and then also a sit-up station, but you can also use that sit-up station for other types of physical activities. We have a potential site in front of Lamar, but have not put equipment there yet, just so that we can communicate with them of what equipment would go well without taking away from the beauty of the campus too. And then on the other side, we have another upper body with another set of plyo hurdles. And then moving closer towards 123, a captain's chair so you can elevate yourself and bring your legs up and down. And a chin-up station where you can do hanging core as well. And then the potential sites in front of the new central office building, we don't have equipment there, but hopefully, that sidewalk will be rebuilt, and then we can add those equipment pieces as construction finishes. And then still moving in front of Highway 123 in front of the Goodnight and central offices. This is until construction is finished, this is just the cut down sidewalk that we have between Lamar and Goodnight. So even if like the PE classes want to utilize it, or the CDC, you can still, without going towards 123 with all that construction and safety wise, we can still utilize Staples and DZ and then cutting down through that sidewalk by Lamar. So that's our proposed plan for right now. And this is just kind of layout of what the trail looks like with that cut through behind Lamar, and then as it finishes the construction, it'll go all the way down 123 and then cut between Bonham and Goodnight. So this is our proposal for that. And then Jennifer Vogel, I'm going to turn it over to, and she'll talk to y'all about the cost analysis and asking for donations to sponsor those sites.
Okay, so we've kind of designated 11 different stations, and we went out and we sought some bids and we compared prices. These will all be done within the sidewalk range that San Marcos School District owns the property, and we worked with the city to review the situation. We also had underground utilities evaluated and met with almost weekly Mr. Sandoval and Mr. Duvall to make sure this project, took all those considerations into factor. And so we have basically right now about 11 different fitness pieces of equipment, and they range anywhere from about $2,000 all the way up to some of those mobile, movable stations to about $7,000. That includes a maintenance fee that we're going to take at the beginning of the donation and put it into an account that will save to do repairs throughout the years. Some of them won't require as many repairs over the years, but we anticipate some of the movable ones. We ran these cost analysis with the maintenance department and Mr. Duvall. They really appreciated that we did in fact include that maintenance amount for the long-term longevity of this project. We are really excited. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We've gotten several people that, after we've done our presentation, with the school board, that are really excited about doing this for this community and the neighborhoods in that area that are considered a low economic status and really could value from having some fitness and some guidance through there. Each station included in this is also having a signage of who donated it. And so I think we're about ready to move forward. We're hoping to have about half paid for before fall and start the implementation in the fall. Kind of coinciding with finishing up about the time maybe that central office would open up. It would be a really nice way to put it together.
This is really wonderful, and I commend you all on putting this together, and hopefully it can also serve as a model for something that we can do in other areas across the district.
Yes,
once we have it up and running. I could certainly see it working here at the high school and on other campuses also. So
We love the name. We really have to kind of give Sam
it's
credit
great work.
for that. Yeah.
So. And thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Can you tell her all Texas State people?
So good evening, Board President Halsey, Board of Trustees, Dr. Cardona. Tonight's one of our 2023 bond check-in points. We've reviewed schematic design with the new Mendez Elementary School replacement project. And tonight we have Perkins and Will here to review the design development, which is, once again, the next check-in point. Gets a little bit deeper. There will be an action item tonight where y'all will approve or not approve this part of the project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Coleman and Travis with Perkins and Will to review this with y'all this evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having us back. As he said, we're progressing through this pretty quickly, and we're ready to go out to bid, hopefully in May, if you approve it this evening. Let's just jump to a couple things. We have some updated slides with some additional exterior views that if we have time, we'd like to show you. But just to give you an idea of where we are, as I'd mentioned previously, construction budget's around $57 million. We actually sent this out to bid, not to bid, for a cost estimate in early March and received those numbers back on Friday, and we are right in line with the budget. So the independent cost estimator is actually coming in about $56 million. So we're $1 million under budget currently. Again, that's just an estimate. We'll actually have a contractor bid that, and we'll know exact costs. But this helps everyone here know we're heading in the right direction. We're still being conscious of budget, and we're staying within that number. So some great news. We met with them this morning and reviewed that with them. We have our mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers and our civil engineers reviewing a couple things just to make sure, but we are in a very comfortable spot with budgets right now as we move forward. As I'd mentioned, we are going to go out to bid. We're still right on schedule, planning on going out to bid in May. I think something that I'll reiterate multiple times is we've gotten great information from campus and from administration throughout the entire process. So we've been able to make choices and continue, to hit schedule. There's a lot of big decisions that we made, in schematic design, the layout of those pods at individual grade levels. When you have that good information and everybody understands how the building's going to be used, all you're doing is refinements throughout the next few phases. So it'll look very familiar to what we had presented previously, but we had time to refine and make things a little bit better with the individual user groups.
Sure. I mean, this is just a simple diagram similar to what we presented last time, which was really generated through the user group meetings that we had with the campus. And what we really want to illustrate with this graphic is that what was generated was really formed around these two central courtyards. It's the idea of a school that's really being centered around a public side and an academic side. And both of those, public and academic side, have secure courtyards, which we really want to activate through that internal transparency in those courtyards, which we're showing through these diagrams.
And as a part of that, as he was talking about safety and security a little bit in our safe and secure courtyards, we also have to think about safety and security as we come up to the site. And so, as we had mentioned, we have intentionally, intentionally have the play not right up against the road. We're recessed a little further back. We have a very clear entrance where all traffic is coming in through one spot, so you're able to see where traffic is coming from. You're able to know who's on your site, who's approaching the building. But we also have safety from a standpoint of traffic and not so buses, parents, staff, and walkers. So we have this dedicated greenway here that kiddos can leave and actually walk to the communities without having to cross this major space where buses and parents are coming in and out of. We have that allocated directly off-site or on the south side here. But we also have our buses completely separate from our student drop-off and our teacher parking. So we're intentionally separating those out. And then we have, of course, our drop off for deliveries and those types of things completely separate from there. Driving an 18-wheeler through parking lots is not always a great idea. So we're able to break that out as well. One of the other items from a safety standpoint is trying to get those parents off the road as they're waiting to pick up their children. So we actually have a drop off, which you can see a little bit better. I'm gonna jump here. Which you can actually come in, and now we're pulling parents off Peter Garza. We're able to stack on site to leave that road free for access. If you've ever been there, quite a bit lately, it's hard to get through there, starting after about 2 o'clock, it starts to get crowded on that road. So making sure that we have the accessibility to get parents off the main road, come in, clearly define where to pick up and drop off.
I think if you go back to, I think, and maybe I missed it, but I think one of the really important aspects of this as well is that we're changing the primary entry point off of Peter Garza, now off of Del Sol. And the reason for that was, again, going back to talking with the campus, where this building was going to be located, directly north of that, planned north of that, is the back of house of a barbecue joint. So we don't want that to be our front door. Please give us a little bit of a better orientation to where when you walk out of our school, there's a little bit better of a view and a better connection with the neighborhood beyond.
And of course, for our play fields and everything will be fenced in, so we're meeting safety and security as well from a site standpoint. As I've mentioned, it's not changed a whole bunch since we looked at it together last month or month before last. Still able to have our public spaces on this north portion, so we can actually shut down the academic wing for at night You'll be able to close off some doors here, and people can only access the library, gym, and cafeteria spaces. We still have our kindergarten and first grade on the first floor, some campus admin in the orange, our front door admin, and then additional teacher lounge and those types of spaces here in the back. Art on the first floor that have direct access to those academic courtyards. And then on the second floor, we have second, third, fourth, and fifth grade in their individual pods. For admin, we have our main vestibule that's a secured vestibule, so you would be access in and then wait, and then another access point to be able to check in, and then off to where you were supposed to go if you wanted to go eat lunch with your kiddo. You're able to head out close to the cafeteria or gym or library for those public spaces. It is a cafetorium, so we have our stage attached to the cafeteria. And one of the important things from the campus was making sure that we had direct access from music to the stage. They like to be able to access that from the back for performances, so adding some stairs in so they can access the stage directly. Acts as a green room almost for those events, but really it's a pretty large music room, about the size as Rodriguez. And then, as I'd mentioned, first floor, and we'll jump into the courtyards here in just a moment, but I think it's really about that activation of that outdoor learning space. Having our multi-purpose can access directly off of there. Science can go out directly to raised planters for biology experiments and projects and plants. And then we also have our art that can come out and study light through and have those opportunities of light and shadow. On the second floor, as mentioned, second, third, fourth, and fifth. I think this is something at a pod level that has really worked out well. We're giving flexibility. We're not taking entire rooms over and dedicating them. It gives teachers the ability to float, or those, for speech or dyslexia, some of those, they can float between classes, so they can reserve rooms. So the kids aren't having to go all the way downstairs, out of their pod into another space for those. The teachers are actually coming to them in their space, so they're not having to leave their grade level for that area. And I know that that's something that the Principal Woody's going to be working through to figure out how they schedule those things. But in theory, right now, it's working out really well. I think she was one of the biggest proponents of that idea. And again, we were trying to take some of that precedent imagery that was really popular by all the campus when we first started this, and trying to stick as close to that as possible. Flexible learning spaces with easy access to electrical and easy indoor and outdoor access. Making sure that we are visible so we can see what's happening in spaces, to make sure that they're full of collaboration and communication, not just at a student level, but teachers can learn from each other as well.
So I do want to just see if we can pull up these more recent renderings here, and let's see here. Go to. Maybe not. Maybe we'll go off of the others. Okay. So for the building materiality, a lot of what we're looking at from the exterior standpoint is wanting to get something that's very regional and very durable. And so where the primary material on the exterior of the building is really rooted in this region. That's what's called a burnt clay brick. You see it a lot in San Antonio, you see it a lot in San Marcos. It's a really warm, natural feeling material. It's got weathered edges to it. And again, it's got that really nice kind of warm, homey feel to it. That's what we're using for the primary perimeter of the building. But once you get inside the building, that's where you're gonna start to see a little bit more richness and materiality for that library space, which is the connector of both of the public and the academic spaces, which is, we're gonna show you in some of the renderings, has a rich, warm wood feel to it. And then in the classrooms, that's where we're using a relatively muted color palette, but then bringing in some bolder colors for that wayfinding aspect. And when we look at the overall materiality, we like to create these material boards. And so what we're looking at on the left is that more natural brick material on the left-hand side there. And then the next image in is showing you an example of what that heavy timber wood could look like in the library. And then with the brick, we're looking at ways to bring in texture, another layer of play on light to add areas of interest. And then another thing that we'll show you is the idea of introducing murals, and then the last image is the courtyards that we'll be showing you. So as we zoom all the way out and we're looking from Del Sol, we'll have a large monumental sign for Mendez Elementary. That's going to be the kind of that iconic element that draws people into the site and really works on that axis that you've seen from those plans. You can clearly see here on the left-hand side is the academic, and on the right-hand side is the public, and then that gap in the middle is that entry point, bringing people into the building. And as Coleman was mentioning, we have very distinctly separated parent pickup and drop off as well as bus pickup and drop off. But to bring in equity, we have them both being dropped off at the same location. They both get dropped off at the same covered canopy and get funneled into the school in the same location, which is a little bit unique to other school designs that are out there. And again, just a little bit closer zoom in, you can start to see the warmth of that wood coming through on the library, and then the richness and natural coloration in that brick and that texture that's starting to show through. And then similar to what we're seeing on the front, we also have on the back of the building. This is looking at the reverse side of that, where on the left is the gymnasium, where we'll have some nice clear story light coming in, and on the right-hand side, again, is the academic portion. A lot of what we've been talking about are these courtyards and how these courtyards are really going to help activate the school. While on the exterior perimeter of the school, we want to have a really durable, kind of strong feel to it, maybe a little bit more a little less opacity. But once you get to the interior courtyard, we really want to open up that transparency and have that vegetation on the inside in those courtyards be easily accessible to students and be able to bring that biophilia, that rich natural feel into the spaces. So we're looking here at a section cut through the public side, where this would be the public courtyard in the middle with the vegetation. And then what we're starting to see through the glazing on the interior are murals that could be done by a local artist that really starts to express what's similar to what Mendez currently has with their murals throughout their courtyards. This is a way to really bring place and bring culture and history into the school. On the bottom, we're starting to see some of the renderings where a mural walking through the corridor and that same mural experienced through that public courtyard. And this is a section cut looking at the public on the left-hand side and the academic courtyard on the right-hand side. And the images down below are showing you how the library and that multi-purpose space, which Coleman was talking about previously, really start to have that strong visual connection with those courtyards to really help make them more engaging and used by students. This is looking at that library from the public courtyard side, and again, some of that vegetation on the interior. And this is on the right-hand side, you were seeing the multi-purpose space with sliding doors that can be opened up that allow students to come out and really program those exterior spaces to help activate those secure courtyards. This is a reflected ceiling plan. I don't have to spend too much time on this. It's just a document showing what the different lighting types would be. And again, we were talking previously about that interior color palette and going with some natural earthy colors, but then you're really using some more, a little bit brighter, vibrant colors for wayfinding, which we'll take a look at here in just a minute. This is the front reception, so once you get out of that secure vestibule, you will be in this space here, and then if you're looking at the page left through that glazing, you can start to see into the library and into the courtyard. You really starts to get to see those peaks of nature and that warmth of color coming through. That central library, you can see the large glulam beams up above, really trying to connect the public side and the private side visually. And on the page left-hand side, bottom, that's the multi-purpose space, which again, once you're in that space, easy access into that academic courtyard. This is the academic pod, which Coleman was mentioning previously. There's 6 classrooms that are all really focused around this one central flex space, which allows special education to come in and schedule these classrooms or these flex spaces to allow students to be pulled into a zone that's maybe not being pulled so far away. It allows a lot more flexibility with how classes are being taught. Typical classroom here. And again, this was, we were talking previously about how we're using color as wayfinding, specifically as it relates to grade levels and navigating to a different grade level based by color. And that's our presentation.
Questions? Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question on the budget number. That includes the entire site plan, including like the community park and everything that's in the picture is included in your budget, correct? Okay.
Yes, the only thing that is not in there, and that would be separately funded, is the regional detention pond that the city has been talking about. But everything else, our detention, our parking, the individual playgrounds, the district actually buys through furniture, a separate, it's in the total budget. It's just not in the construction budget.
Okay, thank you.
And I just want to follow up about the construction, if it will impact the current building. And my understanding is no, that this construction will take place on a different part of the property, so there will be no impact to the current building.
Correct.
Which is fantastic.
That is, phase one is, I mean, we are about 30 feet from the edge of the building. And so once they're able to move in, we can actually come in and tear down and do the fields as a part of the second phase of construction. So for probably 3 months, they won't have the big, large soccer field, but they should have their playgrounds.
But there won't be any disruption to students' activities in the existing Mendez until this one is occupied.
Yep, the only thing that'll have to change is parent drop-off and pickup, because they do use that loop out there. So there will be some of that.
This looks really great, and I especially love the design of the courtyards and the library space. The renderings here look beautiful. Some of the things, though, I would like to see us be considering, if we haven't already. I think we're doing a good job with the new central office in salvaging and repurposing materials and repurposing. So I know we don't want to disrupt students, and we want to make that as seamless as possible. But when we do that demo, it would be great if we can find some way to reuse some of those materials. And also, as we, when we did the new, sorry, I'm saying Days of Allah, but it's not Days of Allah. Rodriguez, we were really conscious of this site and the environment and the river in our relationship to the river in San Marcos. And so I appreciate all of the things here that I noticed that are key to student and staff safety, which is obviously critical. But I think if we could also look at ways to incorporate water retention, so that to help with those courtyards and the plantings in those courtyards and that instruction, as well as anything that we can do solar-wise with the spaces, I would be really interested in seeing that as part of the design.
You're talking our language. Okay. I mean, a big reason of using the glue lamps, for example, is we're tracking our carbon, and we're lowering our carbon footprint by using wood in lieu of steel. We're using special concrete, and we're tracking our concrete because concrete is the highest carbon. It introduces the highest amount of carbon. So we're actually using alternative infills for our concrete. We're reducing the thickness where we can of that. It's just, it's a delicate balance of that. We would love to, and since we just found out about that this morning, being under budget, we have some opportunities for cisterns. We have some opportunities for PVs on the roof as well to help offset some energy costs for long term. So there are some, and we've talked about mechanical systems with a higher efficiency rating. We explored the geothermal. We would love to be able to get our EUI, down to 20, which would be amazing for Central Texas. But I think that takes a big step in how you approach maintenance. And I think we can get to the lower 20s by using high efficiency mechanical, but we're also offsetting it with lower carbon footprint and those types of things. So that's how we look at every project.
That's great. And I think that the other part to that is the presentation that we saw earlier tonight from SHAC and the work that they're doing over the campuses to put in that trail. Like any thoughts that we can do to incorporate stuff like that into this as we're moving forward, I would be open to seeing also.
Yes, perfect. I'd love it.
So, Great.
And I guess to that point, if you do see on the bottom portion of the site right there, we do have what is the connector between the two neighborhoods in the planned east-west direction. And then the intent is to create a north-south connector to that and try to create a loop that is around for that continuous walking path.
Excellent. So, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna move to the items for the consent agenda, which include approval of minutes for the regularly scheduled board meeting on February 20th and the special called board meeting on March 4th. The consideration and approval of mid-year performance evaluations for the superintendent of schools, which we have previously discussed. The consider and approval of a service agreement with JPA Traffic Services for the purpose of safety and security services for the district, and the consideration and possible approval of a policy revision FFAC local, which is pertaining to the ability of our nurses to dispense over-the-counter medicines to students when necessary. Questions?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we approve the 4 items on the consent agenda.
Okay. Second?
I'll second.
A second from,
I did have a question regarding the traffic services for safety and security. Is that in addition to our SRO and marshal budgets, we have this additional safety and security item?
Yes, this is in addition to SROs. So think about hiring of safety personnel for board meetings, for athletic events, where we have to staff security when we have a need.
Thank you.
okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Cantu, seconded by Ms. Kane. Any other questions? All in favor of approving the consent items, please raise your hand. Okay.
My hand is up.
Thank you. That's 7-0. And our items for action, first of all, we need to vote on a Region 3 Board of Directors place. There's a ballot in front of you. I think we all have the ballots, yeah. So I guess we could all cast our vote in secret, or we could take a public vote. We've not done this recently. An individual vote. Okay, so at this time, if everybody could please mark your ballots and then fold them and pass them to me. And I am going to ask Ms. Gunther to please take the ballots, count them, and we will table this item till the end of the meeting, at which point we will declare a winner. That is voting on a representative to our Region 13 Board of Directors for Place 4, which is currently has a runoff. All right, next up, consideration and possible action on the proposed design, proposed opinion of portable cost budget timeline for the addition of a learning and community center and boardroom expansion to the administration building project. We previously discussed this, and we had a motion. I failed to get a second on the motion, so we went ahead with the vote without a second. This is a formality. We need to go back, and so at this point, I would like to get a second on the existing motion, and then we'll take another vote.
I'll second the motion.
Second from Ms. Villapando. Any other questions? All in favor, please raise your hand. That passes 7-0. I'm assuming Ms. Cantu has her hand raised also. And now, consider the cancellation of school board trustee elections for the 2 at-large positions. Is there a motion?
Ms. Halsey, I propose that we cancel the election for the May at-large, the 2 positions in May for the 2 at-large positions, as there were only 2 candidates.
Motion made.
I'll second that.
Motion seconded by Ms. Cantu. Any questions, just to clarify, and anybody who's following along? So there are 2 at-large trustee positions open this spring, and only 2 people filed for them, thus alleviating the need for an election this cycle. So we're canceling that and saving the attending taxpayer dollars. All in favor, please raise your hand.
My hand is up.
Opposed?
True teacher.
Thank you, Clem.
My hand is up.
Carries 7-0. Now we have a vote for on human resources, consideration and possible approval of an early resignation incentive for professional, paraprofessional, and auxiliary employees. Ms. Munoz.
I'll make that motion.
I think we're gonna have Ms. Munoz present the plan first, and then we'll take your motion.
And also, I wanted to make mention on item D for the policy. I'm not sure if we were gonna go over that, but that was missed. Do we vote? Okay. And so the early incentive is a way for staff members starting tomorrow, if approved, for 30 days to let the district know early that they'll be resigning, retiring. They do have to have 20 years of consecutive years of service with San Marcos CISD. They would submit their resignation of employment along with the form, letting us know, and that would give the district time to post their position early and us staff. And so in the past, we have had this process, and we had about 13 district employees who applied for this, and it was about $55,000 that the district used for funds, and it was 4% of salary with a minimum of $1,000 and a maximum of $3,000.
So to be clear, this is only those staff members who've been with San Marcos ISD for 20 years or more are eligible for
Correct.
this.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Cantu. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second from Ms. Lopez. Any questions? Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
7-0. And consideration and possible action on the architect's proposed design development for the 2023 Bond Mendez Elementary School project as presented.
Ms. Halsey?
I move that we accept the design as proposed today.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Kane and seconded by Dr. Solmy. Any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand.
I'll vote in favor.
All opposed?
I do want to say I really appreciate that the students won't have to be bused to different schools. I've been in districts where we've built a new school, and on the same site, it's really problematic for those kids to have to be going to a different school for 2 or 3 years. So this is an excellent opportunity. It's great. When I've been in those districts, it's been complicated. So yes, I think this is an excellent solution. So.
And Mr. Doyle, I think, is going to talk to us about items D, the consideration and possible action on the proposed change order number 7 for the addition of a learning and community center and boardroom expansion to the administration building project.
Yes, ma'am. This is in reference to the action taken at last board meeting. This is the formality of change order. The administration recommends that you approve change order number 7.
Ms. Halsey, I move that we approve change order number 7 as presented.
Motion made by Dr. Salmi. Second. Seconded by Ms. Lopez. Any other questions? All in favor, please raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
All opposed? Anybody opposed? That motion will also carry 7-0. At this time, I'd like to make a special recognition of Trustee Margie Villapondo, who has recently celebrated her 80th birthday. We are grateful for all of her contributions to the San Marcos community, to our schools, to our students and our teachers, and to this board.
Thank you very much.
And we really appreciate you, and here's to many, many more. We
We'll
have
see.
some refreshments,
We'll
so
see.
we will adjourn into closed session, and please help yourself. Go ahead.
Go ahead and start us
Mr.
out, Andrew.
Fernandez, take the mic.
And then for the rest of y'all, if you would like to go
Follow up on the ballot that we took earlier. I thought we had to declare a candidate that we're voting for. We do not. Our ballots will be sent in for the rest of the Region 13 ballots and counted amongst those. So we are done with that process for the evening. And then without further ado, we will take action on the discussion regarding Executive Director of Operations. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the hiring of Marcus Alvarez as the Executive Director of Operations starting July 1st.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Ms. Kane and seconded by Ms. Lopez. Are there any questions? All in favor, please raise your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, Mr. Alvarez. And without any, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I
Make
so
a
move.
motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Motion made by Mr. Shanks and seconded by Ms. Cantu. All in favor, please raise your hand.
My
Opposed?
hand is up.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
We would ignore it even if it wasn't. Just teasing.